Hi guys, I'm Calder and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to do some glazing. I have some biscuit fired bowls and I'm going to glaze them with the pouring technique. In the past, I've already made two videos about the pouring technique. In one, I used normal glazes and in another one, I used under glazes. Both of them worked quite well, and if you'd like, you can check those videos out. I will leave a link down below. But in this video, I'm going to try the same thing with regular glazes. I will be using Potter's Choice glazes from Emco, and I will be using colors for autumn. So I will be using some darker greens and some darker reds and maybe some yellowish colors that all fit the autumn vibe a little bit. And I've never tried these combinations myself before, so I'm not sure which ones will work out and which ones may not look so pretty. But together we'll just try it out and I'll take you along with me. On the end of the video I will also be firing it and show you the final results so that we can see what happened in the kiln. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get to the pouring part and let's try some different autumn combinations. For the first one, I'm going to use Cosmic Oil Spot, Temuku and Iron Yellow. I start off with pouring the Temuku into the bowl, and then I pour the Cosmic Oil Spots, and then last but not least I pour in the Iron Yellow. As you can see, my Iron Yellow was a little bit thicker than the other glazes, so maybe I should have added some water in the glaze before pouring it in the bowl, but I hadn't noticed while stirring the glaze. But if your glaze is a little bit too thick, you can always just add some water and mix it. And then I just start moving the bowl around, and as you can see I just swirl it around a bit like this, so that you get a nice pattern with the different glazes. And I also move it like this so that the inside is covered in glaze all the way up to the rim. I always have a little bit of glaze left that's like a little bit thicker, as you can see, and I like to just let this drip down to the bottom, and then I shake the bowl a little bit so that the drip of glaze flattens, so that it isn't too thick at one part. And then the first one's already finished, so as you can see the pouring is quite easy and it already looks quite cool, and I can't wait to see how this one will turn out after it has been fired. For the next one I'm going to use Ancient Copper, Cosmic Tea Dust and Albany Slip Brown, and I just pour them in one by one. When pouring in the glazes, I try to get the right amount of glaze at once so that I don't have to pour anything out and just can cover the whole inside of the bowl with the glaze that I poured in. And this time all three of the colors were quite liquidy, so that is nice when pouring, so that the glaze doesn't become too thick. And it's just easy to swirl around like this. As you can see, the colors mixed it quite a lot, so maybe I should have moved it a little bit less, but it still looks pretty cool. I'm most excited about the Cosmic Tea Dust in this one, because I've never used this glaze, but it has like sparkles in it, so it should be like shiny after it has been glazed and like sparkling, so I think that could look quite cool in combination with the other two colors that are like a little bit darker and a little bit brownish, but we'll see what happens after it has been fired. And then this one is also finished, so we move on to the third bowl. And the next glaze that I'm going to use are Seaweed, Textured Amber and Deep Olive Speckle, so two nice greens and a brown one. I hope it will look nice with the combination of a lighter green as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So I just pour them in again one by one, and then I move it around. The glaze were also quite liquidy, so I try to not move it around too much to keep the colors like a little bit separate from each other, because the more you move, the more the colors will blend into each other, which can also look nice, but I also prefer to see some lines after it has been fired, so I try to not move it too much. At this point I kind of came to the conclusion that I had put a little bit too much glaze in the bowl, so I rushed to the other side of my studio and grabbed a bowl and I just poured the glaze out. Otherwise the glaze would have probably been way too thick at the bottom of the bowl, and that could have caused some problems when firing, because you don't want the glaze to be that thick. So if you have too much glaze, you can just pour it out just like I did, and you can just use the glaze that you poured out again, even though it might have mixed a little bit too much. But maybe if you'd like, you can use the mixture of the colors as a glaze to glaze the outside of the bowl. And then we're already moving on to the last color combination that I will be doing in this video. For this one I will be using Deep Fire Brick, Art Deco Green and Vert Lustre. And I'm quite excited to see how this one will turn out with the darker red, which I haven't used in any of the other color combinations. So well, we'll see what happens. I can just pour them in and then slowly start moving the bowl around. then this one is also finished. Maybe the glaze on the bottom is a little bit too thick now that I'm looking back at this video. So yeah, maybe I should have put it out, but it does look nice. And I'm quite happy with how the swirls turned out on this one. I think it looks pretty cool. All of the bowls have now been glazed and I'm quite happy with how they look so far. I'm very excited to see how they will come out of the kiln, but we will have to wait a few days, but you're lucky because I will include it immediately in this video. But now they are drying and then they will go into the kiln for a glaze fire, and I will fire them at 1020 degrees Celsius. I'll see you in a few days. Bye bye! Good morning guys, it is 2 days later and the kiln has finally cooled down enough to be opened. So right now we're going to look at the results of the autumn pourings and I'm very excited to see how they turned out. So let's just open it and see how everything came out. Okay, here we go. Okay, so far it is giving autumn vibes, so I really like that. It's a little bit darker than I may have expected, but I will now take them out and I will show you some close-ups of how they look. Here's the first one, and it looks quite cool. I honestly don't really remember which colors I used, but I wrote everything down and I numbered the bowls so that I know which bowl is which bowl. So I will include the names of each bowl in the screen at the moment that I'm showing the bowl. This one is quite dark. All of them turned out quite dark, but I don't really hate it. It has some sparkles in it. I think that looks really cool and it really adds some to it. And it also has this metallic vibe to it, like the red really looks like metallic, if that makes sense. I also like the flowing shapes that you see from the pouring. This looks really cool, and so yeah, I'm very happy with how this one turned out. And let's just take a look at the next one. Okay, here's the next one. This one looks a lot more green. I think this is the one with, what is it called? Seaweed, yes. But I think it's quite green because the seaweed became kind of like dominant and like took over the other colors. But on the sides you do see some nice red colors which look quite cool. Not my favorite, I think, but it looks quite nice. It does give the autumn vibe and it kind of gives like the feeling of like falling leaves or something. Like going from green to brown. Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay, on to the next one. Next one looks really interesting. Yeah, like one color is like very dark brown, which I quite like. It looks pretty cool. And I put like a different lighter glaze in it. I'm not sure what it's called anymore, but I will put it in the screen. It's kind of crawled, if that's how you call it. Like here on the rim it crawled a little bit and crawled like open, so you see the clay through the glaze, which I think looks quite cool. But overall it's kind of is like a problem when glazing, because when this happens the piece isn't food safe anymore because you can't eat from the raw clay. But maybe if you're like making a sculpture or just a decorative bowl, it can be really nice. Yeah, I quite like it. You see like the lighter bits of color in between the darker colors. I really like how that works. So yeah, overall quite happy with how this one turned out. Quite cool. On to the last one already. I think this one is my favorite. You really see the green and red colors and the lines are a little bit more visible. It also crawled at the bottom here. I think it's called crawling, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it looks quite cool. It also gives the autumn vibe, but this could also pass for a Christmas vibe, I think. So if you're looking for a Christmas combination with the red and green, then this one is one that you could try out if you'd like. You can also just layer them on top of each other with a brush instead of doing the pouring technique. But yeah, I think this looks really nice. So overall, I'm quite happy with the results and I had a lot of fun trying these out. I hope you liked the results as well. Maybe it didn't turn out as clean as I hoped. It looks a little bit messy, but I guess that's just the look that you get when you're doing the pouring technique. But overall, I think it looks pretty cool and I really caught the autumn vibes. If you're going to try any of these techniques yourself and you're going to post them on Instagram, please tag me at Calder van Andel, because I would love to see your results if you try something like this. And also let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. And also let me know if you want me to do more color combinations with pouring or maybe with some other glaze combinations, whatever. If there's anything you'd like me to try out, let me know in the comments. I hope you have a nice autumn and a nice week, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!